And I had
recording in progress. See, there we go. Answer to your question. What's going on, guys?
Oh, we just got back from lumberjacking over the weekend.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was good.
Yeah, I saw that. There was the video you sent or picture you sent of you cutting wood or something. What were you doing? Just cutting down trees because?
Well, so our friends Holly and Steve, they use a wood burning stove, a high efficiency wood burning stove is legal to use on red burn days, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's how they heat their house. And so for the last couple of years, whenever we can, we help them cut wood because long story, but you can get a permit to harvest dead trees.
Okay.
And it costs $5 a cord, which is one of the most arbitrary measurements in the world. It's a stack of well split stacked wood.
Right.
It's 4 feet high, 4 feet wide, and 8 feet long. Like completely arbitrary. It's like, how do you measure that? Okay. Like, I don't know, that's a cord. Anyway, but
back of a pickup truck.
Yeah. This is the back of a pickup truck is pretty much what they're going for.
Right.
So we went to help them, and I was kind of feeling bad that I had, because of scheduling, I'd skipped my lifting days. I've been doing strong lifts 5x5 for the last little while.
Okay.
And after Saturday, I didn't feel bad about skipping it at all.
Exercise.
My brachialis on both of my arms is just burning from chainsaw.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway.
You got chainsaw elbow. I like it.
But yeah,
so you are Chris and Miriam. For anybody that's just tuning in, just putting this on. Obviously, this is recorded, so it's not like this is live. Coach Bronson here, and I have on a pleasure to talk to Chris and Miriam Bear, the owners and creators and founders and gurus behind Keto Chow and all things alternative health nutrition wise. Right? How was that you introduced yourself at Ketopalooza, Chris? Something about alternative nutrition or something like that?
Well, it was talking about complete nutrition. So that's my standard bio that I have on the website that I started. There was this movement a couple of years ago in the kind of computer hacker space of coming up with a nutritionally complete meal that was like a shake.
Gotcha.
I thought that was really interesting because I was having problems getting my nutrition, and I'm super lazy as well. As an engineer, if I can do anything to save myself effort, I'm absolutely going to take the 10 minutes to save myself an hour down the road.
Sure.
And so I thought that was really cool, but all the recipes that I was messing around with were high carbohydrate. Mm-hmm. I even made fun of somebody once that asked if I could make a low carb version.
Really?
And not really made fun of, but I kind of just dismissed them out of hand because I didn't think there was a lot of science behind it. My parents had done Atkins previously, which I thought was weird. And anyway, and then come back and I decided I had heard about this keto diet thing, and I decided I wanted to try doing that. There was a recipe to make a meal replacement shake that someone had come up with that was that purported to be ketogenic, but it was terribly put together. It was done by someone who had never tried a keto diet in their life.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so I started messing around. Well, and anyway, that recipe was terrible. It was a lot of coconut flour, ground chia seeds, MCT oil. It was not very good. It was effective, but
the basis of keto right there. You just got it right there. Coconut, MCT, and chia seeds. That's it.
That's right. Yeah. I started messing around with it and came up with a much better recipe that I actually started blogging about on January 1st, 2015. So,
oh wow, okay.
So I was talking about I was messing around with the different formulation. I actually published the recipe for Keto Chow on the site. You can still make that original recipe. The current recipe, it uses some industrial scale ingredients that are not available unless you want to buy like 500 years worth. Yeah, it's kind of thing, but
I'm sure there's some doomsday preppers that are ready for that. That are like, just sign me up. I'm ready to go. You got some of those out in Utah, don't you? You got some doomsday preppers out
We
there.
have a lot of preppers.
Yeah, we have a lot
here.
of preppers out here.
Yeah.
But so I started messing around with it, and I came up with this recipe that was a lot better tasting, and I've just been iterating, changing things around. I learned about like methylated B vitamins, and so hey, get rid of the crappy stuff I was using, throw that in. Vitamin D3, all the stuff that I learn along the way goes into the recipe of Keto Chow and just making it better
Over the years. Cool. So so what was for the two of you guys? I thought I saw something online where it said you guys lost 60 pounds when you first got started or something like that. So what's your story? Like, when did this journey outside of the Keto Chow thing start? What about the health journey? Where did that start? I'm assuming that started before you started looking into Keto Chow. Started making Keto Chow, or
so the original meal replacement I was doing, I was doing that to try and lose weight. I lost about 12 pounds and gained it back with more. When I started a keto diet, I lost about 60 pounds. And Miriam, you were doing
I did Whole30
okay.
for a while. It was a year that you had done keto before I jumped on.
Yeah. Which for anyone who isn't familiar with Whole30, it's kind of like paleo.
Yeah. A little bit more strict, but yeah, it's basically the same thing. So he did keto for about a year before you did it, Miriam. What was that like for you?
Horrible. I mean, well, because I was like almost making 3 meals every night. And I mean, I wasn't really, but I felt like I was, because he could have dairy and I couldn't. He could have artificial sweeteners and I couldn't. And then I had fruit, but he didn't care either way. And it was more, I was left out, but then I was also with the kids. So I was like, I don't know. It was just difficult because I'm like, we just want to have one thing together. And instead of trying to figure out what could keto and Whole30 together, which, I mean, the thing was, it was a natural step for me to go from Whole30 to keto because it wasn't that different. I'd already eliminated so many other things.
Right.
And mostly like it was the grains and everything that was really
grains, potatoes,
all the carbs except for fruit. The only carbs I had was fruit, which was hard for me to give up.
And we went to keto. Oh, what was it? The one that's in Connecticut, Keto Fest.
Oh yeah.
We went to Keto Fest together.
Was that 2017?
No, it was 2016. I think that's when you finally made the decision.
Yeah, I had my turning point like on that trip, because we had already started Keto Chow and we've been shipping it and making it, and Chris was keto and I was not. And it was Eric Westman's talk about his, page 4, and it doesn't have to be as difficult as everybody makes it to be. I mean, the fact that Chris made a shake because he, wanted it to be super easy.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't necessarily want a shake. Like, I could see how it could be useful, but I'd like, real food too. But I wanted that satisfaction of the food that's really delicious and good for me. And so when I saw the page 4, I'm like, okay, I like all those things, so I guess I can do that too. But it was the stories really of Eric Westman talking about the stories of people like improving their health. And I wasn't super old. I mean, I'm not old now, but I try to remember in my brain when my mom was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and I'm thinking it's probably close to how old I am now. Okay. And I was just always afraid that was going to be my next step. That was going to be where I'm going to go, because every female in my family has had it. And so I'm like, it's just going to be part of me. It's just okay. And when, he's talking about people reversing their type 2 and, controlling it. And I'm like, I could maybe not even ever have it. Like, isn't that a good idea?
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of my turning point to, like, okay, well, we can meld this, diet together. We can eliminate this. I can jump on board, and then I can not get diabetes. So that was my initial, like, sure, I'd like to lose weight, but really it's more important to me not to get that.
Well, and kind of coming back to your question, one of the interesting, I guess, turning points or points of interest on my journey into a keto lifestyle was we got ripsticks for the kids, which are it's a skateboard that's
That
split in the middle
swivels.
and only has one wheel on each side, and you have to wiggle your feet back and forth.
Oh, those. Yeah. Okay.
It
Okay.
is
Yep.
the most inefficient form of locomotion ever invented, next to a pogo stick. You want to move around. These things are terrible. They are a lot of fun.
But the kids just,
Yes.
and they go down the road and they're so cute.
So, and I distinctly remember one of the kids asking me if I wanted to learn how to ride the ripstick. And a year previous to that, I would not have been in a state of health and movement and flexibility and weight and all these other things to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But instead, I was like, okay, sure. And I did, and I was able to ride it. And I think right about the same time, one of our younger children was learning how to ride a bike. And I remember thinking back that I'm running alongside them. I'm not out of breath. It was just perfectly normal to be running alongside this kid who's learning to ride a bike. And it was kind of an aha moment for me that, wow, look at what has changed. I may not be thin and light and all that other stuff, but the ability to move and the health that I have is invaluable. And that was really a cool thing for me on our journey.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And that's what it's all about. I love that. So you got started, you found an easy way to do it.
Yeah.
Did you ever do anything crazy, like just live on your shake for any period of time?
You know that answer. Well, okay, so I posit that Keto Chow is nutritionally complete food. Okay.
Yep.
I wanted to put that to the test, but I also wanted to do some experimentation. I have a friend named Dave Feldman who does a lot of self-experimentation.
Yep.
Finding out how different things affect the body. And I wanted to see what would happen if I did, got blood tests and lived off of Keto Chow at first it was just, I did it for 28 days and I was like, yeah, here we go. I'm going to try it out. And I actually got some really interesting blood work back from that.
Mm-hmm.
Then I decided to do it for a little longer, like a 6-week experiment. And then I went whole hog and went for a 100-day experiment.
Okay.
Just because, again, I'm saying that it's nutritionally complete. And if it's not, that's a really good way to determine, hey, you know what? There's a problem with the vitamin D in this, because after 100 days of only eating that, I ended up with blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Well, I ended up without any deficiencies. And so,
yeah, better to test it on yourself than on your customers, right?
yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of an interesting thing when you're looking at food that's out there. I wonder how many owners of companies that make food actually eat the food they make. Like, do the people who make Oreos, do they actually eat that? Do the people who make all these different things, is that something that they actually eat, or are they just doing it to make money? And
but it's not food to them. It's a product to them.
Yeah.
Right. Because they can afford, right? They can afford filet mignon every night. They can afford, right?
Filet mignon every night.
I would love filet mignon every night. Oh my God. So Miriam, have you ever done any of this experimentation, or is this all Chris that's you let him jump off the cliff and hopefully he doesn't crash?
I've done a couple. I haven't done 100 days. I did 4 weeks at a time.
Yeah, you did a week, and
with
you did
blood tests every week.
Okay.
I actually done it in, I think, 3 different ones.
I did a couple like week experiments where we did multiple blood tests and we're testing like different variables. So like we tested the difference between Costco butter and like Kerrygold, because everybody says, grass finished is so much better, but my metabolic health said it was fine.
Yeah, we didn't see any metabolic difference between grass-fed butter and conventional butter. Butter is just amazing by itself.
Yeah, butter's good.
So good. It's so good. So, okay, so both of you guys have done some of this. Were there differences that you could attribute to man versus woman in any of the stuff? Did you do any hormone panels or anything like that? Or did you see any differences,
Well,
or
we
did you
did do
notice any
some of the
differences?
hormone. So, well, and the 100-day experiment, oddly enough, I was doing it. I'm a tall dude. And we also had I think she's like 5'1" lady who's about 10 years older than I am, Beverly, who was doing the same experiment at the same time, the 100
Okay.
days. And we had different results, but they tracked along with each
the
other.
testing.
And
Interesting.
the conclusion of that experiment was that MCT oil will really mess up your triglycerides and your HDL, which is why I don't recommend people use MCT oil unless they have a specific neurological or other condition that is helped by high ketones.
Right. So can you explain that? What do you mean by mess up your HDL?
So specifically, the main thing that I was concerned about was that adding MCT oil. Now, this is like literally in isolation. The only thing that Beverly and I were eating for those 100 days was Keto Chow.
Right.
So just that covers all of the vitamins, minerals, electrolytes, protein, all the stuff that you need. The only thing
standard, it doesn't change. There's no variation, right? That's the same.
No variation.
Yep.
Which is kind of boring, but at least there's like 30 flavors to choose from. But the only component that was changing from week to week was what type of fat we were using. And so for a section, we were doing just heavy cream as the fat. For another section, we did avocado oil. For another section, the only thing we changed was we took out some of the avocado oil and we added MCT oil, a comparable caloric amount.
Yep.
And the week that we did MCT oil, it caused my triglycerides to double.
Wow.
And it caused my HDL to go from an okay number to like 27, which is terrible.
Wow.
Really, really low. Beverly had really good HDL, and it went from going like insanely good HDL to kind of okay. And her triglycerides went up as well. And having high triglycerides isn't a good thing on any diet. And you usually see high triglycerides because people are eating a lot of carbohydrates. But in this case, literally the only thing that we changed was we took down some of the avocado oil and added MCT.
That's very interesting. Okay. Did you ever do any research into the mechanism behind that? Why that made those changes?
Dave Feldman has a lot of information, a lot of supposition and things, because he does a lot of experiments. Well, he has what people tend to refer to as the Feldman Protocol.
Right.
Feldman Protocol is he noticed this pattern that if you have you're talking about low carbohydrate, very low carbohydrate eating, and if you eat a high amount of fat, we're talking like 5,000 calories a day, for a short window before a cholesterol blood panel, it will actually drive down your total cholesterol and your LDL cholesterol. And if you eat less, it will actually drive that up. And it's kind of this inversion pattern that he noticed. And he did a series of experiments where he had a bunch of people try this protocol out. And in almost all the cases, eating a higher calorie, higher fat ketogenic diet just before a blood test would bring triglycerides down, HDL up, total cholesterol down, and all this other stuff. It actually made people's blood panels look amazing to conventional doctors. So much so that there's kind of a running joke about actual people who have used the Feldman Protocol to game life insurance policies.
Right.
because you'll have life insurance policies where they'll give people a blood test to see what their cholesterol is, and then charge them premiums based on
because
their
it's higher.
likelihood of dying due to cholesterol.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you can take 3 days to completely change it. Anyway, but when Dave was doing that, he did notice that some people were outliers and their blood test didn't go like they should.
Mhm.
And that seemed to correspond to two things: using MCT oil and coffee were the two things that tended to mess it up.
Interesting.
And so
So
he has
coffee is so, I go back and forth on coffee so much.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I love coffee. I actually just decided not to drink coffee for a while this morning. So I had a shake this morning instead of my coffee. I'm
Okay.
not sure what to do. It's weird how just the flavor and having something changes your whole routine. Like I feel like I'm off all day today.
Mhm.
Not because I'm not awake. So I don't drink it. At least I don't feel like I drink it for the caffeine. I like the taste of it, and I've just done it for so long. It's just what my morning routine is. I get up, I make my coffee, I get up and go about my day. So not having that, it's like something's missing. I'm like looking around, like, what did I forget? Like it's just weird. Do either of you guys drink coffee?
No, we
No?
don't drink coffee. I
Okay.
think it smells like burnt popcorn.
Mhm.
But that's interesting that you say that it has an effect on the cholesterol panels.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody I talk to on any given day, it's coffee is good or coffee is not good, or coffee has this benefit or coffee has this detriment. Like it's so crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing to go into that a little bit, one thing that we kind of like in the keto, the proper human diet community, if you prefer, is that so we don't drink coffee, and it's actually for religious reasons, but we won't get into that. But I also think it smells terrible. But when we're at a party or something like that, and people ask us, hey, do you want some coffee, or do you want some of this, or do you want some of that? It's interesting to me how accepting people in our community are of people's weird dietary choices.
When
it's
they
like,
say no.
It's like, hey, do you want this? No, I'm fasting. Or
of
no,
course.
I'm
It's
only
totally
eating
fine.
beef, butter, bacon, and eggs right now.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's actually a cool thing in the community. I think we deal so much with other people's I don't know, judginess of the dietary choices that we make. We offer people a bit of grace.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I think I'll take you one further. I think it's even more is that if someone does say they're doing something different than what you're used to doing, it's not just okay, cool. It's more like, oh, why? Like, what is it about that? Tell me more. Yeah. Like, there's even a questioning of wanting to understand and learn because maybe there's something that's applicable that an individual could use themselves. It's just there's a level of inquisitiveness and openness about all the stuff. I just love it. I love being around it. Miriam, since Chris was talking about him eating Keto Chow all the time, what about you? And what do you do for yourself and the kids as far as keto goes? Because I know when it comes to families, there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of discussion and a lot of guilt around parents who feel like we have this weird connection between a happy childhood and crappy food. And for some reason, parents feel guilty not giving their kids crap because that somehow is going to make them have a bad childhood. But if they give them real food and they're happy and healthy, how do you navigate all of that?
Yeah, it's hard. I'm not gonna lie, but we took everything out of our house that's not keto. We allow in low carb tortillas, and then whatever they purchase with their own money.
Okay.
And so, but we also do one thing that I've noticed, at least with my kids, is if it's their idea, then they're so behind it. And so when we do meal planning for our dinners, I just have each kid pick a day of the week and then they make whatever they want. It doesn't matter what it is. It just has to be something we all can eat.
Here is a stack of keto cookbooks.
So
Please look through
it
this.
has to be keto because otherwise we can't eat it. So and it's interesting how some of them will like just make the easiest thing they can think of, and some of them will pick like something really elaborate and hard, and then like I say, I'll help you make it, I'll buy all the stuff, whatever, you just pick the food. And like Max will make like spaghetti squash chicken Alfredo, and Sam will pick something out of a cookbook that has like 27 ingredients.
He likes to make the chicken cordon bleu casserole.
Yeah,
I love chicken cordon bleu.
I bought Swiss cheese, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Sam's favorite, which is good because that one's really easy too. So but it's nice because then they own it, and they're more respectful of other people's cooking, because then they know how hard it is. And then they also are, learning just life lessons of how many dishes does it take to make this thing? How much money
All right.
to do this thing? And, I feel like that's been really helpful for our family when we're not doing it. Like, they're so easier to be like, oh, there's nothing to eat. Well, there's stuff in the freezer to make something,
Yeah. When you guys started making these changes, was there what was the transition for them as you guys made changes? Was that harder for them than you in some ways?
Definitely. I think definitely, because we wanted to do it and they didn't. They still don't. Like, there's actually 2 of our daughters who are very, very strict, and that's their choice, and they will not like eat anything, and they get annoyed too because their friends are pushy. Why don't you just eat this one Oreo? It's not going to hurt you. It's just one. And they're like, just leave me alone.
I made this for you. Why don't you have this?
They get really annoyed too because their friends, and then their parents, like one of our daughters will go over to a friend's house, and the mom's like, are you sure there's nothing I can make you? There's nothing. She's like, almonds, cheese, like I don't need anything. I ate before I came here.
I'm not hungry.
So that I think is the hardest part for our 2 kids. But then the other 4 kind of almost fight against it, like it's their rebellion. They come in the house and they're like, I have my gummy bears, and I'm like,
and as rebellions
you can't
go,
control me.
As rebellions go, I think we can handle that, right?
Yeah, but still, like they eat so low carb compared to everybody else that they hang out with.
And I think that's kind of an important point. Is I don't know if our 11-year-old, I don't know that he needs to be ketogenic.
Yeah.
But that he's cutting out so much junk just by virtue of being in our house, I think is beneficial to him and his future health.
Yeah. Well, and what we did was when the stuff got out of the house, I just didn't replace it. So as I buy groceries, then I just don't buy the stuff that they would want. And like I said, we let low carb tortillas in the house. And for a long time, that was what they ate every day because they wanted the carbs so much. But now, like we have them in the pantry and they still sit there for a long time because they're so used to eating bunless burgers. They're so used to eating,
Okay, so we went camping this weekend and Miriam made delicious hamburgers. They were good.
They were
really good.
Them a little bit.
they were perfect. And the funny thing about it is that we're up there with our 3 children who don't do keto, and nobody complained that there weren't buns.
No buns. Yeah, not one person.
Because we all had like 3 or so just patties that we were just cutting up, and it was delicious.
Well, and it's interesting because if you watch like their eating habits, like even before we were keto, like Sam would still eat more carnivore than like he wouldn't necessarily go to the other vegetables and fruits and stuff. He would always like go to the meat. So some like a snack, his favorite snack is ground beef with cheese and sour cream. Like that's his favorite thing to just eat in a little container and just heats it up. So
yeah, we had taco guts, not guts last night.
Yeah,
which is all the stuff that goes in tacos just
without the chips.
Or a tortilla.
Cool.
Yep.
Nice. No skinless tacos.
That's right.
So you guys have been, when did you actually make Keto Chow a company, a business?
So, well, I started making the recipe in 2015. Back then it wasn't ever meant to be a company. It was just, I was making this for myself, and hey, everybody else can check it out too. People started asking if they could get like samples of it because
this is on Reddit, by the way.
Yeah, this is on Reddit. And so people were just like, hey, I don't want to buy all the ingredients unless I know I like it. Can you make a sample? And I'm like, oh, sure. So I would like toss some into literally a Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
It's
Super
super
campy.
sketchy. But I would toss it
You're
into,
just mailing bags of powder across the country.
yeah. And then people were like, hey, I'd like to get a 21 meal bag of it. And so it's a double gallon
double
Ziploc bag in a medium flat rate box going out to somebody. And for the longest time, it was just, you could buy it off a little shopping cart that I threw together on my blog, and it slowly was growing. But I would get home and at night, and we would, like, the kids would be working on homework and Miriam would be helping them, and I would be like yelling answers across the room and
making
and I would be
one
mixing up
batch
keto
of
chow
stuff
for
the day.
people who had, like, the 2 or 3 people who had ordered some.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where we started having people help ship it out. And then in 2016, I decided to make it into an LLC.
Mhm.
And later on that year, we got to the point where I finally found what's called a co-packer or a
Mhm.
co-manufacturer. It's a company that has like FDA approval
all
and
the
the inspections and all the other stuff. You give them the formulation, and here's all the ingredients, and they make it for you and put it into bags. And finding that was a major game changer.
Mhm.
Because we were no longer constrained by our ability to mix it up.
How fast can Chris scoop into the bags?
Well, and we actually
had quite a few employees before we went to manufacture, and we did different bags. They weren't so sketchy.
Yeah, they were printed with the thermal printer.
Yeah,
but
they weren't.
There you go.
Then at that point we had a warehouse, so we got everything out of the house, and it started to grow from there. In 2018, I quit my full-time job.
Nice.
And so I didn't have 2 full-time jobs anymore.
Which he should have quit it like way earlier. But we have 6 children, and they injure themselves, and so we wanted that insurance.
Yeah, we had really good insurance. So, but yeah, so it's just kind of evolved from there. Keto Chow was, like I said, it was never meant to be a money-making business. It just sort of evolved.
Yeah.
And we're more concerned about helping people on their keto journey and making things work well for them.
Yep.
And that's kind of our goal. That's why.
Well, that's a really good segue, because I was going to talk to you about your involvement in the community. One of the things that's really impressed me about you guys is that you try to get involved in as many things as possible. I see you're always out doing things. You've got your videos on YouTube that you guys are always out talking about stuff, and bringing things to light and bringing discussions out. And what do you guys see your place in the community as? Because you're a product owner, right?
Yeah.
You have a product that people use, but I don't feel like you guys approach the community as product owners, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we do things backwards. I say this a lot.
That's a discussion we've had a lot, because we're not influencers.
Yeah, we're not influencers, we're business. But then we kind of act like influencers. But anyway, we care more about people on their journey and their health than we care about the product. And we'll say this a lot, like, I don't care if you like Keto Chow, just give keto a try. Like, what do you think about it? Like, could it be helpful to you? What other things could be helpful to you? Like, there's something that I've been exploring myself as more of the like mental aspects, because I feel like we're missing that in the keto space. Like, a lot of times we change over and we drop all the carbs and then, do all these things. But then if we can't lose weight, or if we can't, get to our goals, like, we end up binging, or, all these other things, and berating ourselves. And it's just that's not healthy either. And so we have to figure out like how to get to the root of the problem. And I know that's not what you asked, but that's what I've been thinking about.
It's something you're passionate about. So go for it. Yeah. What do you really think, Miriam?
But I just think we should really visit that more. But kind of what we do, like, because we have this company, we have like we have a reason to go places because, well, it's furthering our company, but then it's actually what we really enjoy and are passionate about. And so we can go to these conferences, and yes, we run the booth and we sell the product. And so then it allows us to be able to do, but we also get to attend all of the speakers, and we get to learn more. And then we in turn turn around and try to share that knowledge with the people that we could have influence over.
Yeah.
Which are a lot of times our customers. And so that's why I'm saying we're kind of influencers. We're kind of, kind of
you guys are influencers, even though you don't want to admit it.
So, but we're passionate about it. And
yeah.
And once you know, you can't unknow.
Once you've seen the elephant, you can't stop seeing it. Yeah.
Right. What are some of the things that you've learned personally along your journey? Let's say over the past 5 years.
I think we're more alike than we're different.
Oh, all people.
Yeah. And then I think to embrace our differences, like we can all learn from each other, and we don't have to be keto police, and we don't have to be, you're better than me and I'm better than you. Like, embrace the differences and learn from the differences, and then we can, grow and all move up forward together. So I feel like we've learned a lot. I live like this, in my space where I can control my variables, my house, my children, what comes in my house, what media comes in my house, everything I can control. And kind of getting out and seeing the world and learning about people and learning about, especially like different problems and trials that people have, like they give me strength. So we feel like a lot of times we're trying to help other people to learn and grow, but yet we're receiving strength from so many other people from just being in this space and being in this community. So we really enjoy it.
Yeah, I felt that definitely at Keto Palooza. Just that last session where it was like an hour and a half of just people telling like their experience. It was like, good gosh, why can't I get some? Can I do this? Can we do this every day? Like, this is amazing. It's so cool. Yeah. What about you, Chris? What are some things you learned?
I've learned that kindness really helps out. Just being nice to people. Yeah, it's not hard to be nice. If you don't agree with someone politically, if you don't agree with with their stances on different things, you can still be nice.
Yeah.
And even people that I don't like, a lot of times I'll just treat them like a complete stranger. And how do I treat complete strangers?
Nice.
Well, you're courteous to them, you talk to them, and you're nice. So being kind to people is really important. And this is something completely has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I'm thinking about it, is serving people. It's interesting what serving people has opened doors for us. We noticed this when we've gone to different, like, we'll get ourselves invited to the cool house, to the party house after events. And there have been times where, we're the shake people.
I know.
Shake people. We don't like the shake people. Well, you guys do shakes. Well, I think people should just eat real food.
Like we think so too.
I agree with you.
Right.
I don't have time on a Monday morning while I'm helping my daughter jumpstart her car.
Oh, that was today.
To make a break. So I have time to grab a Keto Chow out of the fridge. And that's why I made it. But when we're at these parties, we tend to like to help people, especially Miriam. She likes to show up for keto conferences at least a day early
to try to do the dishes or something,
And we were at one of the party houses, and we started washing dishes, or rather, Miriam and the other people started washing dishes, and they told me, Chris, you talk
to people, because he's the smart one. Like I know people, but he has the words and so, the smart thing.
So I was talking to people and just talking to people and enjoying the party. Meanwhile, Miriam and Holly and Steve were washing dishes. The next day, everyone wanted to talk to Miriam and Holly and Steve. And no one wanted to talk to me.
And you're like, let me get in on that dishes action.
Broken in because I hadn't served people.
Yep.
And they hadn't seen that, we actually
Mhm.
really care. So the next day I wash dishes most of the time, and suddenly,
So he can have friends.
but it's funny to me how serving people can
Mhm.
change
Yeah.
how they look at you.
Absolutely.
Well, and for that matter, how you look at them.
Mhm.
This is, again, completely off the beaten path, but there's a thing called the Benjamin Franklin principle. I don't know
Okay.
if you've ever heard of that. Benjamin Franklin, if he was having a conflict with someone, maybe microaggressions or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
he wasn't getting along with someone, he would ask them for a favor, and usually a big favor, like, can I borrow this rare, expensive book?
Mhm.
Mm.
And it was always something that they would usually be willing to do, but it was kind of a big ask. And the reason he would do that is he had a theory that when we do something for someone else, we assign value to the relationship,
Mm.
and we value that relationship more because we've done something for them. You would think that
It's the
that
opposite,
someone
yeah.
serving you would make you feel better about them. But you just have to look at a mother and a baby. Does the baby care that the mother is literally breaking her back? No, the baby couldn't care less, but
Right.
the mother loves the baby more because of how much service the mother is giving to the baby
Mhm.
Right.
and adding value to that relationship. And so, yeah, it's interesting how us serving someone else also makes us value them
Mhm.
more.
Yeah. I think that's amazing.
There's
That's
something else
awesome.
that
Good. Good.
Oh, I was just gonna say there's something else that we did the very first conference that we had a booth at. It was KetoCon 2017,
Yeah.
I think. And we just come out with a bunch of flavors, and there was a bunch of shake companies because there's shakes everywhere.
Mhm.
Like, why have a shake? I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Why did
Anyway,
we choose a company that's a
that was
shake?
dumb.
That's because we didn't choose it as a company. It just kind of happened.
Anyway, so there's all these companies, and like we decided to make a choice. Then, are we going to be part of this space? Is this going to be something that we can help each other, lift each other up? Or are we going to be competing against each other? Because we're competing against each other. We want those customers, right? I mean, that's what a business wants. And I said to Chris, I'm going to go tell him we're going to be friends. And so I walked around to every single booth and I said, let's be friends, and I talked to him about their product and told him about our product. I'm like, oh, that's a cool idea, just different things. And I realized that we all let our guards down. The company just went oh, this is not a crazy person, this is a nice person.
Yeah.
And, from then on, every time I have to remind myself sometimes, I'm like, I'm not against them. We're in the same place. We're all lifting each other up together.
Yeah.
Your thing, just because I think mine is better, doesn't mean that your thing still can't be good.
Absolutely. I see that in the fitness space a lot. And it was something that when I opened my gym, I ran across, which was unfortunate because I actually had some people that I considered friends locally who, when I decided to open, I went to them and I was like, hey, I'm going to be opening in the area. It'd be cool if we could collaborate and kind of, there's enough people in the area to support all of the gyms.
Yeah.
There could be 15 more gyms in the area and they could still all be supported by the population we have here. I'm like, I'm adding one gym to the mix. It's not that big a deal. But I had people literally tell me, you are now competition, don't contact me.
That's so
Oh,
sad.
This is not it. We're not friends anymore. You're now competition, that's it. Peace. And I'm like, wow, that just doesn't make sense to me. Some people are going to mesh and connect with me. Some people are going to mesh and connect with them. So why not do stuff together, get more people to the both of us, and then we can figure it out from there, right? It just doesn't make sense to me to do that. And that's one of the things I've loved about the keto carnivore space is the influencers, the people, the businesses that I've come in contact with, particularly at the individual coaches level. There's a lot of nutrition coaches, a lot of keto carnivore coaches out there. But you could have 15 of them in the same room and they're all positive. They're all about helping each other. They're all about, this is what I do. What do you do? Because if I have someone who does what you do, or fits you better than me, then I'll give them to you. like there's no problem with that understanding of, I have my story and I'm going to match with some people. I'm not going to match with everybody. But I need to know as many other coaches that may match so that I can still help the community.
Yes.
Right. I love it. Absolutely love it. Where are you guys going from here? What kind of goals do you have? Do you have any health goals? What right now? Are you guys kind of happy where you're at? Are you working towards anything? Inquiring minds want to know.
My big goal is be more consistent with lifting heavy things.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
that's a good idea.
I know, right? I heard someone say that Bronson Dan said, if you want to be able to lift heavy things, you need to lift heavy things. But Miriam, we had a room in our basement that was just being used for storage, and we have a power rack and a bunch of weights and everything like that.
It's really cute now, by the way. The room.
Anyway, there are horse stall mats on the floor, like there should be.
Yay!
But I've been trying to work that into my schedule to make sure that I'm lifting every day, and I've just been using the Strong Lifts 5x5 program.
Sure.
Very simple.
Pretty
It starts off very quick too.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get more into that. Just because, hey, lifting weights seems like it's one of the best things that I can do at this particular point in time.
Cool.
So that's what I'm working on.
Okay. What about you, Miriam? Anything?
I'm working on like a lot of mental health stuff, not even necessarily for myself, but just I think for other people, for a lot of people, some mindfulness and
like research stuff, or just coming up with different things, or
just trying to figure out, like, I think a lot of times we get so overwhelmed because there's so much information, and it would be nice if we could say, okay, well, here's 3 things like to try, because I really get very overwhelmed and can't achieve my goals if I don't give myself something attainable.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I want to look down the road and see what I want to get to, right? Yeah. I think that you do need to have a goal, but if I see something I can't get to ever, then I'm just going to never try. But if I make myself little pieces and little small steps, then I can, I achieved that today. Yes. You know,
so you're going to read Atomic Habits 3 more times.
I have read Atomic Habits quite a few times.
Yes. It's still on my list. I actually read Power of Habits. I haven't read Atomic Habits yet.
I like the Power of Habit too. I read that too, right after Atomic Habits. And that was cool to me because it talked about like how the brain functions and kind of more sciencey into it. And so Atomic Habits was like, this is how it goes. But I've been trying to like implement some more of those habits. Also, since I'm a mom, that's my primary focus. And so I'm kind of working on trying to help them to have better habits, in addition to, you know, just function and get through life.
Awesome. Cool. Anything big on the horizon for Keto Chow?
Well, we're going to the Las Vegas show.
Okay.
Up.
Yeah, we have some new flavors coming out next year, so that should be fun.
Yeah.
And
aside from that, we keep on adding more employees and increasing our capability to do stuff. So
now, you guys ship. Are you global right now? You ship all over the.
Well, we ship to the countries that accept shipments from the United States right now. How about that?
Yeah, right. Gotcha. So you are currently under the established global parameter. You are global.
Yes.
Yep.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right. So let's tell everybody where you're going to be in the next few months. You said you're going to be in Vegas.
We're going to be at the Las Vegas Keto Show. We have planned that we will be hosting a show in Utah on tax day, April 15th and 16th of 2022.
It's called Keto Salt Lake.
Yep, Keto Salt Lake. That's actually something that we did the first one back in 2019 in person.
Yep.
2020's got delayed.
Weirdly.
We did a 2021 that we did virtual for free on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. But 2022 is supposed to be in person. We're going to be at the Metabolic Health Summit in May of 2022. We are also going to be going on the low carb cruise. Also
see you there.
That's really fun.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be. It'll be interesting because that's just before one of our kids graduates.
Wait. May. When is the Metabolic Health Summit?
I think it's
on Mother's Day, I think.
So
it might have been.
So the weekend before the cruise, because the cruise is like the 15th.
So funny this comes up. I made a website called lowcarbevents.com to keep track of all of these. Let's see. So yeah, Keto Salt Lake is April 15th and 16th. Metabolic Health is May 5th
May
through
5th.
the 8th.
Yes.
The Low Carb Cruise is May 15th through the 21st.
Which Metabolic Health is super nerdy. It's a lot of doctors.
Yeah.
But it's really fun.
Yeah, it's less of a community event. So it seems like there's two kinds of conferences that you can go to. You've got the community ones, which are usually a lot smaller.
And they're more like a meetup.
Yeah, it's like a meetup on steroids. And then you have the symposiums that offer continuing education credits.
Gotcha. And that's what the metabolic health is.
Yeah, and that's more Low Carb USA is a lot like that as well.
Gotcha.
And then we're going to be at Keto Con, which is July.
Oh yeah.
July 8th through the 10th in Texas, in Austin.
Awesome. Yeah, I plan on being there too. Awesome. All right, cool. Well, so people can find you at ketochow.xyz, right? So XYZ, guys, that's literally what it is. Ketochow.xyz. Where else can they find you? You guys are on Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff.
We're on
YouTube.
Instagrams, the Facebooks, the Twitters.
None of them have S's. We're
on
Reddit. We have a little bit of TikTok.
Yeah, just a little bit of TikTok.
Some Snapchat.
I'm a little bit too not 13-year-old girl to be the target demographic.
Which is funny
for
because he
TikTok.
dances and sings really good. So you'd think he would totally fit into that. Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, cool. I appreciate you guys coming on. This has been fantastic. I really wanted to just give people a little insight. I know a lot of people know who you are, but I don't think everyone's been kind of exposed to, how awesome you are. So I've enjoyed the friendship and I've enjoyed getting to know you guys. And I look forward to seeing you in Vegas because I will be there. Are you guys staying at a house or are you going to stay at the hotel?
We're just going to stay at the hotel.
Okay. All right, good.
There's not a lot of houses around there. And then after that, we're going to like me.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I think everybody's at the hotel. So that should be fun. Party hotel.
Hotel.
We'll find your room and you'll be the party room.
Okay.
Awesome, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.